Hello and welcome to everyone who is joining this Salesforce Sales Navigator Sync webinar. My name is Ryan Hammer and I'm a Scaled Program Manager here at LinkedIn. I'm joined by Neil Carre, who is a Product Marketing Manager here at LinkedIn as well. So a couple things before we get started. I will be handling the chat this entire time. So if you have any questions, please ask the questions in the chat panel below this screen you are looking at. And Neil is actually going to drive the whole presentation. So I'm going to kick over to Neil in a couple minutes here. But I just want to make sure we're all on the same page and get you guys all set up for this. So a couple things I want to point out. First and foremost, we are going to be talking about the Salesforce Lightning experience today. How to install the widget, why it's beneficial, how to install the sync, and go through everything that we need to know. But again, this is for the Salesforce Lightning version of Salesforce. Second, we will be emailing you a recording of this after the webinar. So don't worry if you miss something or if you lose eyes on something. We will send you the recording so you actually can watch this afterwards. You can hit pause, you can hit play, you can go at your own leisure. So don't worry about that if you miss something. And lastly, we've also included the installation guides for the widget and for the sync, as well as some security information at the very top. So you have all the information you need. And yeah, those are only three things I want to cover. And I'm going to kick it over to Neil, and he's going to get started with the presentation.
Today we'll be showing you how to enable 3 of Sales Navigator's core CRM integrations with Salesforce. So the first one is embedded profiles. These are iframes in your CRM that allow reps to access critical LinkedIn insights about leads, contacts, accounts, and opportunities. The second is CRM Sync. So this integration is going to help auto-import a rep's key accounts and contacts from your CRM into Sales Navigator. And it's really the foundation of all of Sales Navigator's other CRM integrations, which include Activity Writeback. So Activity Writeback writes back key activities like InMails or messages that reps take in Sales Navigator back into your CRM. Before we get started, it's probably helpful to give a quick overview of these integrations and what they do. Let's start with embedded profiles. So embedded profiles really enhance your CRM by allowing you to place LinkedIn insights onto different pages within Salesforce. So as you can see in the screenshot, we have different Lightning components that are placed on this leads page. We support placing these components and modules on lead, contact, opportunity, and account pages. They provide your CRM users with up-to-date information about a person's job title, job history, location, shared connections, many other key items too, and also your best path to introduction, shared connections, and relevant news. You can also set up quick action buttons within Salesforce to send an InMail directly within Salesforce, and it's basically the power of Sales Navigator put into your CRM. So these components are simply iframes, and they work by matching key fields like first and last name or company URL in your CRM to LinkedIn member and company profile data to make a match. It's really powerful for reps to be able to see critical data within CRM, and the beauty of these iframes is that these components are really easy to configure, and we have out-of-the-box layouts ready to go if you like. Our next integration is CRM Sync. It's probably our most powerful integration for getting the most out of Sales Navigator, and like I mentioned earlier, several other features are built off of its foundation. Sync does 3 things. First, it automatically imports CRM accounts and contacts attached to their open opportunities into their corresponding Sales Navigator setup. So reps don't have to manually add each contact they're working on into Sales Navigator. Instead, if you have Sync set up, these reps are ready to go from day one of being onboarded. They'll be able to stay on top of all their CRM accounts and contacts and receive key alerts on items such as job changes, news mentions, and LinkedIn activities. Second, it badges profiles in Sales Navigator to provide one-click access back to the corresponding CRM record. So if a rep comes across a lead in Sales Navigator, they can quickly click on the badge to take them back to the corresponding CRM record and see all the relevant information about them. And then third, you'll see from this screen, it enriches Sales Navigator profiles with contact information from CRM. So this really helps build cross-system awareness, and a rep can immediately take action when being on this page if they'd like to. Like I mentioned, we found that our most successful companies have CRM sync set up since it increases the effectiveness of their users. And then lastly, let's just quickly talk about activity writeback. So activity writeback really improves workflow efficiency by allowing for a few key activities that you take in Sales Navigator to be logged in CRM. Users will see a copy to CRM button, which you can see on the bottom right there, which is by default checked on key activities. And these activities include InMails, messages, notes, and also you can log phone calls from the mobile app. So you're required to have sync set up to enable writeback, but it's really critical for making sure that your CRM is kept up to date and to measure your reps on the sales activities they're taking, like sending emails. So those are the 3 items and 3 integrations we'll be talking about today and showing you how to enable. Now let's just pivot to talking about what are the steps to installing the app package. So first is actually installing the Sales Navigator for Salesforce app package itself. The installation is actually relatively quick. It just takes a few minutes. This installation will happen within CRM, so you'll need to be a CRM admin to make this happen. Next is configuring embedded profiles. So those are those components that you can see within your CRM. So this can take just a little bit more time depending on how customized your CRM is, from 30 minutes up to a few hours. But again, this setup occurs in CRM and is led by a CRM admin, though I would encourage you to have a Sales Navigator user seat so that you can test embedded profiles. And then lastly, we're going to show you today how to enable CRM sync and activity writeback. Now this is a pretty quick setup, and it happens within Sales Navigator by a Sales Navigator administrator. That said, you will need to have Salesforce admin credentials to authenticate the sync as well. It's an admin-initiated sync. Before actually showing you what the installation process looks like, just wanted to cover 2 other things. First are prerequisites. So it's important to understand the requirements for enabling these integrations. So first, the requirements on the Salesforce side. You're going to have one of the following editions. It has to be Enterprise, Unlimited, Developer, Performance, or Professional. And if you do have Professional edition, you have to have API access enabled. The API is required for us. If you don't have it enabled, I would recommend or suggest that you contact your Salesforce rep for pricing details around that. And then secondly, for Lightning users, you have to have a subdomain set up via my domain for security purposes. And we'll just quickly walk you through that process if you don't have it already set up. On the Sales Navigator side, the requirements are pretty simple. You just have to be on either Team or Enterprise Edition. And then in general, you have to have the right security requirements to conduct the setup. So for Salesforce, you're going to have to be a system administrator or global administrator. And then for Sales Navigator, you're going to have at least an administrator seat. And then we really recommend having just a regular team user, enterprise user seat as well. It'll just help you test it and see it in action. One note we should make is that if you've contacted Salesforce and asked that person accounts be enabled for your org, you'll be able to support embedded profiles, but not sync and activity writeback. That's a question that comes up often. We have it on our roadmap in the future to support sync and activity writeback for person accounts, but it's not something supported right now. All right, now the last thing. So before you start, we really encourage you to review our installation guides. They're accessible via the Salesforce App Exchange. Please do review them. They're not very long. They have step-by-step instructions and screenshots, and most importantly, they'll make sure you won't run into any issues. This webinar is not meant to be a replacement for the installation guides, although, I am biased. I think it's going to be a great webinar. But we really just make sure that you go through them, you familiarize yourself with them before actually taking action. So before you install the package, make sure you review them. All right, now on to actually showing you how to install these in Salesforce.
All right, so I'm going to interrupt here for a minute. We have a question from the chat that I think would be very beneficial for everyone. The question is, for CRM Sync, what data gets pushed from Salesforce to Sales Navigator? It's a really good question. We get that all the time. So again, the question is, for CRM Sync, what data gets pushed from Salesforce to Sales Navigator? And the answer is, for each Sales Navigator user, any CRM contacts or accounts associated with their open opportunities gets automatically saved in Sales Navigator. So if you think about it, it's a really powerful feature that helps reps stay on top of their opportunities with Sales Navigator by seeing when folks might change jobs, when they post on LinkedIn, or they get mentioned in the news. So the benefit around this is anytime you bring on a new rep or a rep gets a new book, they'll start seeing information right in Sales Navigator just by having open opportunities set up in Salesforce. So it's a really powerful tool, helps a lot of reps save a lot of time just by automatically having their information right in Sales Navigator. So it's a really good question. Thank you for that one.
Okay, now we're ready to go. So we're going to show you how to install these CRM integrations within Lightning. Now, the first thing you're going to have to do is make sure that My Domain is set up. So I'm going to quickly show you how to set it up if you haven't already. I'll show you how to navigate to that part. And it's really easy. You just go to Quick Find in your setup, type in My Domain, and then from there, you'll get step-by-step instructions on how to actually enable it. I actually had just set up My Domain for my org, and I'm using a developer environment right now. And it took just a couple minutes. So you choose a subdomain name, you submit it to Salesforce right here. They'll send you an email back. It usually takes between 2 and 5 minutes to get that email, let you know when it's ready. And then you can test it if you want. And then the key is to deploy it to all users. So these instructions you can find in the first page of your installation guide that you can download from AppExchange. Many of you already have My Domain already set up. It's a requirement for us, but those are the quick steps you can do to make sure that you have it set up before actually proceeding with installing the app. So the installation of the app is pretty easy as well, and it's pretty easy to find. You actually don't have to go to the AppExchange or download it from anywhere else. You can actually just navigate to your Quick Find bar and type in LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and you'll see that it comes up. So we have this out-of-the-box experience. Once it comes up and you go down here below Sales and click on it, you can just click here to install. It'll take you to a little iframe of the App Store page, and you can click Get It Now. So you're going to have to log in again. I've got my login credentials already there. You're going to allow access. And then the next step that's going to come up is you're going to decide where you're going to install this. So our embedded profiles can be installed obviously right on production or in a sandbox org. One thing I did want to make clear is that we cannot test CRM Sync or Writeback on a sandbox. So I would recommend installing it right onto your production org. And then you can confirm the installation details right here. So after you click through that, you're going to be prompted to select the desired users you want to install it for. So if you wish to limit access to certain profiles and users for whom you've already provisioned Sales Navigator team licenses, you would install this just for specific profiles. Now, you may want to think about doing this if you have half of your sales team with Sales Navigator and half of your sales team without Sales Navigator. That way, the half with Sales Navigator will actually see the embedded profiles, but you can, for the other half of the folks, they won't see those empty boxes showing up. So if you have that, I would set up specific profiles for half of your folks that have Sales Navigator. But if you have Sales Navigator across your team, I would install it for all users. So I'll show you how to install this for all users. So click on the install button. It'll install and grant access for all users. And then you're going to see one of two screens, basically. Installation complete, which should come up, or this processing screen right now. If you do see the processing screen, Salesforce will send you an email when the installation is complete. Okay, now installation is complete and the app is installed. The next step is to actually set up custom record types for tasks. So you've installed this app, and what it does is creates new custom record types for tasks. And this can sometimes, in some cases, cause some global actions or quick action tasks to be hidden, or some activities to be written with the incorrect task record type. So just to resolve this, it's a very easy fix. You're just going to need to create a general custom record type and assign it for the global actions or tasks that are hidden. And I'll walk you through those steps right now. So it's very easy. You're going to go and type in Object Manager to your quick find field. And once you navigate here, you're going to scroll down to Tasks. It only affects tasks. And from here, you're going to click on Record Types. So as you can see with our app installation, we created these new record types. We actually want to create another new record type manually. It's going to be pretty easy, pretty simple. So you're going to click New here, and you're going to create a new record type labeled Standard Task, or whatever you want to call it. I'm just calling it Standard Task. It's going to populate the record type name. You don't have to put a description in or anything. And then what you'll want to do next is make sure that you click Enable for Profile for all profiles that you want to enable it for, as well as Make Default. This is a really critical piece. You want to make it default. And I just want to caveat, this is something that you want to do if you've never created custom record types for tasks before. If you have used that before, you probably won't see this issue come up and you can skip this step. So then you're going to click Next. And it's going to ask you, do you want to select the page layout and apply this one layout to all profiles, or apply a different layout for each profile? I would recommend apply this one layout for all profiles. And then I'd click Save in the bottom right of this page. So we've created this new standard task. Now what we have to do to make sure that the global actions and quick actions are assigned to this task is just go to Home right here, type in Global Actions, and then once you select Global Actions as an option, there's really two default tasks or quick actions that will default to the wrong record types, and that's Log a Call and New Task. So if you click Log a Call right here, you can then click Edit and see that the record type it defaults to is Master. So Master is basically Salesforce version of Null. And so on your quick actions pages or on your quick actions toolbars, you're not going to see Log a Call come up anymore. But because we've created the new standard task record type, we can just quickly change it to standard task, and then all of a sudden you're going to see Log a Call appear again. So that's just a quick fix. So we just fixed it for Log a Call. We're going to do the same. Navigate back to New Task. So click Edit on this. And we're going to change the record type from Master, which is Null, to Standard. And hit Save. Now, if you have other global actions that have been created that relate to activities or tasks, you're able to make that change as well. For these other ones that are associated with accounts, cases, contacts, no change has been made. We created these new LinkedIn activities and tasks, and because the record types are a little bit different, we have to go back and make sure that we assign the correct global actions to the correct record type. Great. Now that we've installed the app, the next step is to actually configure the app, and in particular, configure the embedded profiles. And that part can take a little bit of time depending on how customized your CRM is. I'm going to show you two ways that you can do it. So to customize page layouts, you can go directly to the page and edit it from there. So what we're going to do is we're going to navigate to Sales right here, or you can do Sales Console if you use that as well. And you're just going to navigate to a page. We're going to go to a contacts record page right here. So we'll click on contacts. I have one record set up already. It's very basic. And then what you can do is you can go here to the top right and click Edit Page. So this takes you to the Lightning App Builder. Now under the left rail right here on this app builder, you can scroll down and see these custom managed display components down here. Alternatively, you can just search for these components right here by searching Sales Navigator. Now, because we're on a contact page, we have two options that we can utilize here: company profile card or member profile card. On a contact page or a lead page, you're generally going to utilize the member profile card. So you can click on this and it's going to tell you how to use the Lightning App Builder. But what I would recommend doing is taking this and dragging and dropping it in a few places. So, we have right now up here, we can add, a section right up here to provide information on, it could be the member profile. And we can select what we want to show here. And, in the top left, what we want to show here is just a top card or member profile. And then in the top right here, we want to have it set up so that you can actually see who your shared connections are, as well as your highlights. So we're going to unselect these pieces and put in highlights and get introduced. Additionally, we can add some information to the news section. So Salesforce comes pre-populated with the Twitter component, but you can put this member profile here and then say, I want to know whenever there's recent activity that this member is taking. So you could say display recent activity, and that would be in the news section. Or alternatively, you can do the same with company profile and add news about the company that's matched and say, hey, what is the news that this lead or contact's company is now in the news for? So all you would do is unselect these pieces. If you want to know what all of these different terms mean, top card, recommended leads, connections, news, I would recommend going to our installation guide. There's a one-pager in there that demonstrates what those different components are and what they'll provide to the user. It's really what they'll provide to the user. It's really helpful. So I'll hit save here. And now it's saved. You have to activate it. So we'll click activate as well. And it's going to ask you, do you want to assign it as org default? I do. Do it for desktop. Hit save. And there we go. It's saved and activated. So now you can go back. It's going to, most of the time, auto match this. You can reload the page. And you'll see there'll be information about the actual member profile up here. You can go see information about, the company where LinkedIn will match right here. Any recent activity, you can find ways to get introduced or highlights. Right now, because this is a demo account, I don't have this set up, but you can see from the screenshots I showed you earlier how this would populate. And the beauty is, if you want to just edit this, it's really easy. You just go back into edit page and you can move things around really easily. So let's say you didn't want that top profile card to be in the top left. Let's say you had a 2-column layout like this and you actually wanted it to be up here. You just drag and drop it and place it up here. If you want to remove this piece, you can remove this piece right here. So as you can see, pretty easy to actually manipulate it. You just save it again, make sure that it's activated. It should be, it's all good. And then go back, and if you refresh, you'll see, this new sort of page and module come up on the side that we wanted it to. So you can do that for contacts, leads, accounts, and opportunities. These are ways to do it in a custom fashion. We also have out-of-the-box layouts that I'm going to show you. So let's navigate to that right now. So to access the out-of-the-box layouts, what you're going to do is go back into your setup panel and then just search for Lightning App Builder. Once you click on that, you'll see that Sales Navigator's app has pre-installed some out-of-the-box templates. So we can see right here we have a contact 3-column template. Let's say you had a 3-column Lightning setup. and you want to use that. So you're going to click on that. You can view it as a preview right now to see how it's set up. And as you can see, on a contact right here, you've got the profile card on the left side. You've got related leads over here. You've got news set up right in here. You've got highlights down here. So if this was something that you wanted to utilize, what you can do is you can go back. You can clone this view right here. You can customize it the same way we were customizing it before with different modules, and then you can save it and activate it. So I'm going to click Activate, assign it as the org default. And so this version of the page will now be the one that shows up. So I would draw a little bit of inspiration from this version, from our out-of-the-box layouts. They're laid out in a very optimal way. Obviously, you probably have other components that you'll be utilizing, but it'll show you some examples of how best to lay out the Sales Navigator controls and widgets and embedded profiles within Sales Navigator or within Salesforce. So hopefully that was helpful. I just wanted to show one other quick thing when it comes to configuration, which is how to enable InMail quick actions. So we're going to navigate back to the setup page, and we're going to go back into the quick find box and go back into Object Manager. So we're going to click here, and we're going to scroll down to Contact. We can do this on leads as well. And then from here, we're going to select Page Layouts. So there's a few different page layouts here. I'm just going to select Contact Layout, which is the default one. And what you can do here is you can actually find the LinkedIn InMail action and drag and drop it into the right place. So we're going to click on Quick Actions right here. We're going to click on Mobile Lightning Actions. Click on LinkedIn InMail. And then drag it down here as one of our top actions. So this is now a quick action. And we're going to save it. Great, it's saved. And now if we go back to our contact page, it will now show up as an option there. So let's navigate back to that. We're going to go back to a contact page. And let's go see our one record, Jeff. And you can see LinkedIn InMail is now a quick action. So you can click on this, and if you're a Sales Navigator user, you can from there automatically send Jeff a message. And then what's really cool is that you can copy it to CRM as well. But you have to set up CRM Sync to do that first, and we're going to show you how to do that next. Okay, now that we've set up embedded profiles, the one thing I wanted to show you was how to set up CRM Sync. But before we do this, I really want to recommend that folks go check out the installation guide, download it. It'll answer a lot of your questions around how to set this up for opportunity pages, lead pages, account pages, and contact pages. And it will most importantly show you how you can test this to make sure that it's working well. As a reminder, you can always set embedded profiles up in a sandbox first, so feel free to do that. However, for CRM Sync and Activity Writeback, we cannot do that, so you're going to have to install directly to production. That being said, we have ways to test it that we show in the installation guide. So again, I recommend for CRM Sync and Activity Writeback, which we're going to show you next, how you can test that in your production org to make sure that you're comfortable with it before rolling it out to all your users. So the next step for CRM Sync and Activity Writeback is actually to go to your Sales Navigator profile, and if you have an admin profile, that's great. If not, you're going to have to work with the Sales Navigator admin, and then go down to admin settings. And again, this is really simple. It should just take a couple minutes to set up CRM Sync. What you're going to do is you're going to click on Connect to CRM here. It's going to ask you which CRM system you'd like to connect to. We support Sync for 2 CRMs, Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics. So for Salesforce, you're going to click on Salesforce. And then you're going to click on Allow. Or you're going to log in if you haven't already input your information here. and sync is set up. That's about all that it takes here. Now, one of the things that you'll want to do after sync is set up is just make sure that these items right here are correct. So we'll go into change right here. It's going to ask you questions. At what stage does your sales team consider an opportunity to enter your pipeline? So depending on how you have it set up, you're going to want to say qualification, needs analysis, value proposition. The reason this is important is that all of your reps open opportunities, which means all the opportunities that have reached this stage or are beyond this stage will be imported into Sales Navigator. So the associated accounts and contacts will be imported into Sales Navigator. So if you think that you want all of their opportunities, from the very first stage imported in, you could click prospecting. But if you think, hey, they're only qualified till a little bit later and we only want to import those that are, completely qualified, you're going to want to select something else. And these stages right here should match what's in your CRM in terms of stages. And then it's going to ask, where do you store the value for one opportunity? There's a couple things that come up, like amount or expected revenue. This is really important for two reasons. One, to recommend accounts that are similar to those one opportunities, and also for ROI reporting, which is a feature built on CRM Sync. So we're able to tell you what's the benefit, what's the ROI of Sales Navigator, based off all the opportunities that your reps have taken action on and whether they've closed one or closed lost. So this helps us do that, and you can work with your relationship manager or your customer success manager to get access to that ROI reporting. So those are the two things that you really need to do, and then you can save that, and Sync is all ready to go, and it's all set up. So now you've got CRM Sync all set up, it's time to set up Writeback, and that's a really easy process as well. So you're going to scroll down. There might be a item that comes up saying, hey, make sure that you've installed the Sales Navigator package before enabling Writeback. If that comes up, just click on that and get that out of the way. But otherwise, it's going to ask you, can you enable Writeback data to sync back to your CRM? And you can either disable it by clicking this, or you can enable it by clicking this. And then you can even test it right here. If you click test, it'll write back a sample contact and associated set of contact activities to your CRM. And so you can actually click here to view it in your CRM. So it created a fake contact, Tom Lee right here, and it shows notes and attachments that are written back. You can actually view, a note from Sales Navigator. And it's created right here. So that's great. It wrote it back to that sample contact, and you're all set. So you've set up Writeback. So those are the three things I wanted to show you today: how to set up embedded profiles, how to set up CRM Sync, and then how to set up Activity Writeback. Now, if you wanted to test these, and this question's come up on this webinar, if you want to test these, again, I'd recommend that you go to our Sales Navigator App Exchange page, and we have in our installation guides instructions on how to test these. But the setup themselves are pretty simple and pretty easy to do. If you have any questions at all, you can reach out to LSS support. Probably the best way to do that is to go to our Help Center. So you can click on Help right here, Help Center. You can also just Google LinkedIn Help Center. And then, scroll down to, the Sales Navigator Help Center if you're accessing this via Google, and just say you can contact folks via email. In a lot of cases, you can do live chat with them depending on the hours. And you can just log sort of a ticket or a case this way. Someone will get back to you really quickly around that within, at least 8 working hours. So hopefully that gives you an overview of how to set up CRM Sync, CRM Writeback, and our embedded profiles. And hope you enjoy these integrations. They're free, hopefully very easy to set up. And happy to take any questions at the appropriate time. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Neil. That was super helpful. Like I said, we're going to stay on the chat here for a little while. Hopefully you guys enjoy this music. So we're actually going to end this portion. We're going to play some music. Neil and I will stick around for a little bit, answer some more questions in the chat. If you have any further questions, again, please talk to your relationship manager or your customer success manager. Like I said, we will also be emailing out a recording of this, so you will get that after. And like I said, please, we're here for you. If you have any questions, use those installation guides that we posted in the resources section, and hopefully we got to all your questions. If we didn't, we apologize, but we'll definitely try to do our best to handle all the questions before we leave the webinar here.